Welcome to the Resilience Project. Good evening. My name is Penda James, and if you've never heard of me or heard of the Resilience Project, this is a series of conversations with women and men about serious things. We are going tonight to talk about the soul of a Black woman. And the declaration that we are leaning on is I am because we are, and we are because I am. This conversation about the soul of a Black woman has been sitting on my heart for a while, probably since Breonna Taylor passed away. And then we had Ma'Khia Bryant, who passed away. And then we had all these hashtags, say her name, and it just started to pull me in all these different directions. So welcome. Invite your friends, share this broadcast. Tag some people that you know need to be in this conversation tonight, because there are some powerful women who are going to lend their voice to this conversation. And I need you to mark your calendars, because for the next 3 Mondays, the conversation continues. So with that said, I'd like to bring all of my panelists to the front. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. So briefly, can you all just give me a 1-sentence biography of who you are? And we'll start with you, the homie Tiff.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Tiff Countryman, the homie, and I'm so excited to be here today with Penda, the inscribed coach. Today, we're going to really take some time to go deep. So really quick, I am a faith-based CEO of Ministry Is Me Ministries, which is a faith-based event planning and project management company. And we just love serving, especially in a virtual perspective. So we're here to add however we can. Back to you, Penda.
She did not say she's also a playwright. She's a mom. Like, come on. I just want you to know, like, I'm introducing my friends to my friends because we about to do great work in the kingdom.
You said one sentence.
Okay. I want my Falami, Dr. Falami, can you please introduce yourself?
Greetings. Thank you so much, my Sands, my line sister, my sister. I am so appreciative of being here. And I am a womanist. But first of all, I am the daughter of Dr. Edna D. Neal and Leo Neal. I'm a granddaughter. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a grandmother. I'm a friend. I'm a poet. I'm a photo artist. I'm a scholar, and I'm an activist and a healer. And I have my own healing company, Holistic Alchemy. And I also work in education as well. And you said 1 sentence, so I'm going to stick right there. Period.
Period. Teah, can you please introduce yourself to us?
I sure will. I can keep this real simple. I'm Teah Williams-Hampton. I am a wife, I am a mother, and I am a licensed clinical social worker, a mental health therapist. So my work is to be a healer, connection and healing. So I'm just glad to be here tonight with all of you.
I'm so happy you're here. I haven't seen you forever. I don't know what I'm going to do. Angelique, can you tell us who you are, please?
First, of course, thank you again, Lady P, for inviting me to be a part. I am Angelique Strothers, and I am a multitude, child. So I am a writer. I'm a worship leader, a psalmist, I am a minister. I am an author, published author now, and the founder of Pursuing Surrender LLC, which is really all about igniting the hearts. Literally, our tagline is setting the world on fire one heart at a time. And so it's really about igniting the hearts of people toward God one heart at a time.
Thank you so much. I have so much that I could say about all of you. And it's because you all mean so much to me for so many reasons. And because I needed to have this conversation with people that I love and trust, that's why I wanted you here. We're all different ages. We live in different parts of the country. We are all, although Falami and I are in the same state, but we are all educationally different and our life experiences are different. So to bring you all into this space and have a conversation about the soul of a Black woman, we're leaning on the pillar of faith, but this conversation is not about Christianity or Buddhism or anything like that. It's about what is the soul of a Black woman? What does that look like? What happens when her soul is tired and when she's frustrated and when she's heavy? What happens to Black women when we lose our faith and lose our voice? What happens to Black women when our soul is weary? Honestly, have any of you ever heard anybody say, my soul is tired, like I'm tired? Have anybody ever heard somebody say that?
Yes.
We never talk about that. We never talk about what that means when our soul is tired. So that's why we're here tonight. If you are watching, please make sure that you use the hashtag I am resilience, hashtag Black women speak. This is the Resilience Project. I'm ready to dig right in. So question number 1. Falami, how do you define the soul of a Black woman?
Wow. First of all, that is so multifaceted. It's it's layered. And I've been sitting with it, quite honestly. I've been sitting with it. When you talk about what is the soul, because of course you want to go to the dictionary definition of what soul means, right? And so when you're thinking about soul, you're thinking of this, well, according to the dictionary, they say this spiritual, immaterial a part of a human being, right? And so then I started thinking about, what does that mean for a Black woman? What is this connection for me and for Black women? And so for me, what I believe the soul of a Black woman is vulnerability. Now, let me take you a little bit there. It's either the choice to be vulnerable or experiences that have led us to no longer be vulnerable. And so I think, in thinking about that, because some of us have certain ways in which we've protected ourselves, right? Because of experiences that have happened to us. But the soul of a Black woman is a vulnerable one. And so I just believe, and I would argue that experiences have made us to protect ourselves and to close ourselves in, right? And so with deep down inside, we're vulnerable. And we can be vulnerable. Let me put it like that. We can be vulnerable, right? If we choose to be. So I think about that. I think also about the soul of a Black woman desires connection to a higher source, the connection to whatever it is that rejuvenates and restores the one inside, right? And being connected to nature. Some people, don't even, and I'm glad you prefaced it, this is not about Christianity or any kind of Buddha. This is just some real talk. So the soul of a Black woman is connected to some innate divine spirit that's deep down inside, that sometimes, again, wants to be vulnerable, wants to feel connected to a higher source. Does that make sense, Sands?
It makes absolute sense. The reason why I wanted you to be a part of this conversation was because I know you as a healer. And I know you as someone who you use your singing bowls and you do the touch healing and things like that. And because you are a womanist and a feminist, you bring a different perspective to what it means to be a woman. And I say that because I was part of your journey as you were working on your doctorate and as you were teaching me about some of the things that you were learning in your research. It helped me to understand that as a woman, I don't always give myself the permission to be what I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
Like being still in the moment, sitting and being present around me with the birds singing, being grounded, things like that. And so we talk about chakras and we talk about all these things that I've been taught were new age or, we're not supposed to talk about that, but they have. Being in a room with some singing bowls has touched a part of my soul that I didn't know.
Yes.
Like this little singing thing, and I'm like, "Ooh, what is happening?"
Right.
And so I wanted you to share your perspective because I think we don't hear enough from. I think sometimes what happens, at least in my experience as a Christian woman, that our ears are closed to people who don't believe like us.
Right.
And for me over these past 18 months, having lost my voice literally with things happening in my life and not knowing who I was anymore, and then participating in your project and recognizing that there's so much more to me as a woman.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you. And I'm so glad to share that. And just, it's so important to unearth that. And that's what happened with you in terms of unearthing, which already is in you. It's just, it's been overlooked or it has not been paid attention to. Let me put it like that. And so when you get down to the crux and let me go back to what I began with, being vulnerable. You had to make yourself to be vulnerable to get to the inside, right? To get to that core, that center. So once we begin to become vulnerable and find ways to connect with our spirit, then we have that understanding of, and this, I don't want to go into my whole diatribe, but going to this evolved way of living and being.
Thank you. Would you hold on in case we have some more questions for you?
I can hold on. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Our next question is going to be answered by none other than Tiffany Countryman. Hello again. Hello again.
Hello. What's going on, Penda?
So I know you are the youngest of all of the panelists tonight.
I am, but everyone looks so beautiful and just, that black don't crack. You can't really judge it by the looks nowadays, but okay, Absolutely. I'll take that. I'll be the youngest.
You are the youngest in age chronologically, but not necessarily, not in wisdom, not in life experience. So I want you to talk about how has being a Black woman been a thread throughout your life?
Well, Penda, this is a great question because although I may be the youngest, so for those who may be wondering, I'm 33 years old. I'm calling this my Jesus year, my death, burial, and resurrection of my purpose and my destiny. Being a Black woman is something that I've always been. It's something that I've always been around. I was raised by my grandmother, a Black woman that was from Coffeyville, Kansas. Her last name was Cosper. She had 3 brothers and 1 sister. She was born in 1919, and consequently, her parents were born in the 1800s, my great-grandparents, who were also Black. My great-grandmother was born a slave, my great grandfather purchased her freedom, and migrated to Kansas from Alabama, I believe. I'm not for sure if that's correct. It's been a long time since I heard the story. And I appreciate being raised by my grandmother. I remember sitting in the kitchen, our knees touching each other as a brown paper bag is in the middle of the floor as we were picking greens and snapping peas, and her telling me about the Great Depression and how she, as a Black woman, had to quit school by the 6th grade, and how she had to go and get a job to help take care of her family. And she was the youngest out of 5 siblings. And then I remember my mother, she was a single mother. Not single by choice, because legally she was married to my father. Actually, she married and divorced him twice, but that's her business. I'm gonna let her tell that story. But what I remember most about my mother, a Black woman, an uneducated woman in the sense of society. She did not go to college. She did not have a college degree. She got in at Maumee Valley Hospital and started working. And now she's going to be retiring in a couple of months after 45 years of service. I remember her getting up, making sure that our clothes were laid out on the table. So when my grandmother woke up, she was able to get us dressed. I remember my mom coming home with hands full of food and her eyes as low as her knees. I remember her always saying that I have to go to work, broke down body, bent, tired. I have to go. I remember one time in particular, she got a root canal, and this was back in the day, the early thousands. Got a root canal. She came home, and the next morning she got up and went to work. Not because she wanted to be there, not because there was an important meeting, but because she knew as a single Black mother that she had children that she had to feed, that she had children that she had to put clothes on their back and shoes on their feet. So with that knowledge, me seeing what my grandmother did as far as taking up the rear of the family, and as what my mom did is making sure that the bills were paid and that we had food. That is my image. Those are my direct reflections and pictures of a Black woman. And those threads have continued throughout my life because I understand what hard work means. I understand what dedication and sacrifice, especially when it pertains to your children, just how important that is. So, Penda, that's how Black women have been a thread throughout my life. My grandma and my mama.
I feel so emotional right now because I didn't know that part of that your great grandfather purchased your great grandmother. Like, that tells us that slavery is not that far. And I'm like, I know that my grandmother picked cotton down in Barnesville, Georgia, but I don't know about the slave lineage. And that's amazing. So before I let you go, what is something that you want to make? Because you have a little baby, and she's not a little baby, but she's young, a young African-American child.
Yes, she is.
What do you want her to know about the thread of Black womanhood in her life, the soul of a Black woman that she carries?
I want her to know that she's absolutely limitless. My daughter, a Black princess, a Black woman, a Black tiny human, as I call her, I want her to know that she is absolutely limitless. There is nothing that she cannot do. There is nothing that she cannot achieve. There's nowhere that she cannot go as long as she puts her mind to it and the hard work behind it. I want her to know that she's limitless. The sky is not the limit because there's footprints on the moon. She is limitless.
Thank you, homie.
Thank you, homie.
Hang around so we can come back together. All right, question number 3 is going to be answered by Angelique Strothers. Angelique, I feel like I have this Angelique because it's like French. I'm going to say Angelique. Thank you for allowing me to have fun with you, even though you are you're very serious about your walk with God. You're very serious about who you are in God and how you are an example to others about God. So I want you to answer this question as soon as it comes up because I forgot it.
Until then, how about that weather? No.
Right. What do you want people to know, Angelique, about the soul of a Black woman?
Yeah, I think for me in processing that question, where I landed was a couple of different facets of the same idea. And the first is I would want people to know not to peg the soul of a Black woman as one thing. You know, you're bitter, or you're angry, or you're ghetto, because we know we know what people say, or you're so joyful all the time, or you're so, even good things, like not to get in their mind and peg in the soul of a Black woman individually as well as a collect, like not to peg the soul of a Black woman as one thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Black women are so this, Black women are so that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, first of all, it's none of us are just one thing, right? We all have, as you would say, a lot of commas attached to us, right? There are a lot of ways that you can describe us individually, right? But then add to that you cannot peg us all as the same thing. And so you can't say about the soul, like all Black women are this, or all Black women are that, because we are multifaceted. And I think that is the beauty of Black women, is that we're not just one thing, right? And I love movies and, TV shows, and I'm always, finding analogies, and God is always speaking through something. But there's an old movie. I love classic movies as well. And there's this old movie called Gigi. And in this movie, this grandmother or this aunt rather, is grooming her niece to be a certain thing. And so she's teaching her all of these things that she needs to know about culture. And so she's teaching her, right? And of course, again, this is a classic movie. So this is like, way back when women was only responsible for looking nice and making nice floral arrangements and such. And so she's training her in all these cultural things that she needs to know, right? And so she's training her, and this is the way that you eat this kind of food, and this is the way that you pick out a man's cigar, and this is the way that you pour the tea at this is the way that you do, right? All of these different things. And then she's showing her how to inspect jewelry to know the real thing from the fake thing. And she says, look at this. What do you see when you look at this stone? And I think it was a sapphire. And she said, what do you see when you look at this stone? And, she's a young girl, 14, 15, maybe. And she's like, oh, it's beautiful. And she says, but if you look closely, you see a fleck of just the slightest hint of green. And so I brought that up to say that when you look at any individual Black woman or Black women collectively, it's never just, oh, this is a sapphire. There's always this, if you are willing to inspect it more closely, if you are willing to invest more time and energy, you'll see that it is the most beautiful sapphire, but it's the most beautiful because there's also this fleck of green that you can only see when you inspect it closely. There's this fleck that it just reflects the light in a certain way if you find the right light to showcase it. You know what I mean? And so that's what I think of with the soul of a Black. It's not just one thing, it's multifaceted. And if you're willing to invest the time and the energy to really get in there and inspect it and look closely and even put it in the right light, you'll see all of the things that you missed just by saying, oh, it's a pretty blue sapphire.
So how do you nurture the green in your sapphire?
That is a great question. I think for me, especially in this season of my life, it is owning the green in my sapphire, because there are many parts of me that perhaps other people have seen over the years, but I have kind of pushed away, like, oh no, that you can't be talking about me, because of the way that I had grown up and come to view myself. And so in this season, really, instead of pushing away, embracing the green. And so embracing all of the beautiful green and yellow and orange notes that are in there, seeing them for what they are, accepting them, because some things I saw and didn't accept because I didn't think it was acceptable. And so, I wouldn't own them, but recognizing that and owning all of those things, the good, the bad, the ugly, right, that I am more fully stepping into the fullness of who I am in this season of my life. And I cannot fully step into who I am called to be in the next season of my life unless and until I'm willing to own, acknowledge, and rest in this is who you are in this season. Because I can't get there unless I'm resting in it here.
Thank you, Angelique. What just resonated with me was own, recognize, and acknowledge who you are. And that's the whole point of this conversation.
Yeah.
Stick around. I'm going to bring you back. I also wanted to, while Angelique was talking, while she was talking, what came to my mind right now, there's this whole conversation about bonnets and, should we wear bonnets and does that make us look ghetto and all these things. And I often think about how we as Black women, we're tired and we're doing all these things with other people. Wrapping your hair up is a part of our culture. Putting on a bonnet is protecting our hair. I personally was taught to go out and put on my lip gloss and have my earrings on because I'm representing the Horton name. As a child, now I'm married, I'm representing the James name. I'm Amaris's mom. I'm Lady Penda of Zion. And so there are times where I want to go outside in a bonnet, but I choose not to do that. But it's not me looking down on anybody. Y'all do what y'all want to do. Just be classy. And that's what is the versatility of who we all are as Black women, nurturing that green in our sapphire. Because this is the month of June, I wanted to also have a part of the conversation how Black women interact with Black men. And the next question will be answered by Teah Williams-Hampton. She's somebody who's really special to me, and we met in college. We took a class, which is really hilarious. Do you remember that we had to write the paper about the Leah syndrome for the rites of passage? Like, that's what solidified our relationship. So if y'all don't, this is really befitting because it talks about that paper that we had to write was for rites of passage, which was an extracurricular that we had at Wilberforce. What it taught us was how sisters are pit against each other. And we had to write about how Leah was impacted and how even in today's, which that was the early 90s, how even in today's society that is still alive and well. And so I wanted Teah to answer this question. I want to give you the floor to talk about what would you say to encourage the soul of a Black king? You muted, Teah.
Oh, I'm muted. Okay, I'm up. All right. What a question. What a question. And I need to, preface this, by saying that, I came from an incredible father, an incredible family of men. I do understand that not everybody's had that experience. So I'm coming from that experience. I've been married also for, I think, 18 years. Penda and Mikhail made my broom, blessed my wedding with my broom. And so I appreciate them. But, there was something that it was a doctor. Is it Falami? Is that her name? Dr. Falami?
Yes.
She, really hit the nail dead on the head with where I come from when she was talking about, she identified herself first as a womanist. And that was a term that I was not familiar with probably up until a few years ago. And because I was in these, in feminist spaces, and I'm in a predominantly white area here, and there were just some things that were not resonating with me as a Black woman who has very strong relationships with Black men, understanding that a lot of women may not have that. And so, what I would say to the soul of a Black man, to encourage the soul of a Black man, is really to remind them that, we're bonded in a soul experience. We have a soul experience. And, sometimes whether we like it or not, it's an understanding that really only we get. And that's what my husband and I, we go through this a lot. The world does not understand the strength of Black men, that the world can't hardly tolerate the strength of Black men. And because of that, often they're beat down, worn out in spaces that just simply don't appreciate them. And so, even when we don't experience each other in the best way, because we're dealing with some of the same stuff, we're in spaces that we get beat up in too. I'm the only or other in a lot of spaces that I'm in. And so, a lot of times we will come together, not really even understanding that we're dealing with the same type of woundedness. And I think it's important that Black men understand that we do get that. We do get that. And at the same time that we want a space to be vulnerable, that they have a space to be vulnerable and safe too. But our power really is in how we connect and how we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and how we allow ourselves to heal together. We want to cherish them the same way we want to be cherished. We protect them. I hear this a lot especially from young Black women, about how much they protect Black men or their Black boys and don't feel as protected. We want that as well, because we're always here. We are always here for them. So just to know that they are loved, that they are seen, and it is our connection and our ability to heal each other that really make us most powerful. And that's what I love that about Black people in general. And it's something that often makes me feel a little sad that we don't get that a lot sometimes in connecting with each other. So the same way you were talking about the Leah Project, I often feel sometimes that Black women and Black men sometimes struggle coming together in that way. But I've had the privilege and the blessing to have beautiful relationships with beautiful, wonderful Black men. And I just want them to be encouraged to keep going and keep encouraging us. So I had a whole lot more written there, but we just gonna leave it at that. So that's it.
This was really good, and I think because you've been married for 18 years and he's your college sweetheart, and
Mm-hmm.
I think when you answer this question and you come from the perspective of, I had strong Black men in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You and your sister like daddy's girls.
That's it.
Daddy's girls, and that changes the way that you interact with men.
Yes.
It changes the way that you interact with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to thank you for sharing that part of your story. And the last question before I let you go and we bring everybody back is, what do you do when your soul is tired?
Ooh, is that for me or is that for everybody?
That's for Teah.
You know what? I've learned how to be vulnerable with it. And to be honest about it. When my soul is tired, really, I sing. Because the soul of a Black woman is rhythm, it is music, it is vibration, it is joy. And I sing, and I can feel it when I'm tired. So I need to get that vibration in a way that is healing for me. When my soul is tired, I sing.
This was so good. Can we bring everybody back? Thank y'all so much for being here and for watching. Please remember that I want you to share this. I want you to comment. If you want to be a guest on the Resilience Project, comment that so I can meet you. And I want to give all of the panelists the opportunity, if there is a question that was asked that you felt resonated with you and you want to answer it, now is your time.
I want to, before I pop off here, I want to just to piggyback on Teah, what you just said in terms of singing. And what I really appreciate you saying and bringing up is that we all, the soul of a Black woman, and just you triggered me, is rhythm, is movement, it is sound. And as a sound healer, I'm a sound healer. That so resonates with me. But thinking also about our ancestors, right? When during the times of strife and struggle, and when they could not say anything, we all know that they were able to moan. If it was just at the belly level, that elicited some certain type of emotion, feeling. It communicated, right? It communicated, even though you didn't say nothing, but we knew through that. So even if you're sitting on the front row or the back row of a certain church or wherever that is that you reside, worship, if someone is sitting there and you hear that guttural moan, right? That for me is a part of that connection to our soul, that moan. So I appreciate you for bringing that up. As a sound healer, I do all of this in terms of bringing that in, and the powerfulness of sound is so real. So thank you. And I'm going, I'm going to jump off here. However, I would like to say, if you don't mind, if I can just, if anyone would like to connect, I'm at drfalami.com. That's drfalami.com. I would love to connect. I work with women around issues, self-care, taking care of yourself, and as well as body image issues as well, working with our identity. And I also do sound healing, working with my sound bowls and Reiki. So it's been a pleasure talking with all of you. I had a prior commitment that I must get to, that I'm late, but I had to be here for my sister, and look forward to meeting with all of you another time.
Thank you, Falami. We'll see
Thank you. Take care.
So Angelique or Teah or Tiff, is there a question that resonated with you that you want to answer before we go?
Yeah, I will jump in there. So the question that you asked, Teah, just a really, and this is a super like small thing, but it's a really practical thing that I do, pouring into Black kings. And honestly, I do this with anybody who's like in my circle. And I think the reason why it came to my mind is because I just did it yesterday with an acquaintance. We were doing a recording, and he said something about himself. And I do this normally when somebody in my circle, when they say something negative, like I have a friend who will like straight up like, dumb, that was stupid, just stupid. And I'm like, first of all, you're not going to talk to my brother like that. So that's what you're not going to do. Just as a, and it's a really, really small, like microcosm of a, but it's a really small, simple thing that I do actually fairly regularly, just to make us and to make our kings mindful of the way that we speak to ourselves, because we get that out here all day, every day. We don't need to come back to our own space that should be safe, and that should be affirming, and say the same things that people out here are saying about us. And so I do that just to call attention to the way that we're thinking. I'll be like, so you're not about to talk to my brother like that. If I hear it again, we're gonna have a whole problem. You know what I mean? And it's just a small thing that draws attention to, let me not say to and over and about myself the same things that people out here are saying. Let me say something different to me when I'm in my space. And to be sure, the other question that you asked to Teah, I think for me, for me, when my soul is tired, I worship. Like, it's just the way that I'm wired. When I feel that heaviness, when I feel that way, I need worship. I need to get into the presence of God.
Thank you, Angelique.
Can I say something, Penda?
Absolutely.
That's good stuff. This is an awesome conversation. I appreciate the feedback and the vulnerability for sure. I do want to tackle the question, what do you do when your soul is tired? For me, I know this is the fad is to rest, to do self-care, because I have a gift of prophecy. So sometimes I could start to hear or see too much that I need to, seclude, like literally sleep, literally rest, because the noise gets too cluttered or too loud to where I'm not able to hear clearly or see clearly or really understand what's going on or how to manage a spiritual situation. And what I've noticed in the past is that I will become very irritated, very angry, very snappy because people don't understand the warfare that's going on in our soul and in our mind. And then they may say something that may trigger us, and then it's on and popping. So for me, I have to take that time to rest so that I can recalibrate and so that my soul will be able to be intentional and pure. So that's how I forgot the initial question, but that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Teah, was there, I know you were last on the questions. Was there a question before you that you wanted to lend your voice to?
You know what? Really, I just wanted to. It was the question about, how does being something about Black women threading. Yes. How has being a Black woman, been a thread through your life? And I'm really, really terrible with names. But I'll just remember Countryman. That's the only name I remember, even though it was like in my face. I know I'm terrible with it. And I got to tell you, I appreciated you, because when I first read that question, I really had no idea how to answer that. And I appreciate you very much for showing me, or at least a way to look at that question. Because I remember attending Wilberforce, and my male influence was so heavy. It was so heavy in my life. And I lived in a 2-parent home that some of my female rites of passage sisters thought that my mother was dead. Like, I didn't even talk about my mother that much. And she was a significant person in my life, but my father had kind of been like an overshadowing thing. And so it's only been recently that I have begun to identify the impact of Black women, like all through my life. I mean, at Wilberforce was the first time I even recognized that it was even an issue. And that was 20 years ago. So I appreciate you very, very much for even putting that perspective to that question. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Teah. Bless you. Bless you.
This conversation was really important to me for a lot of reasons. So the 4-part series is really something that's happening within me right now in my growth journey. As I think about all of the 4 pillars, so it's love, courage, restoration, and faith, the Resilience Project is Penda. And those 4 pillars, as they the themes arose with all of my chats and declarations with the people I was talking to, those themes kept coming up in my life. And I recognized that my tank was empty in a lot of those pillars. And so now I hear myself saying, I'm leaning on the pillar of faith, or I'm leaning on all 4 pillars. And I think about, as a Black woman, I can be loud, and I can be vibrant, and I can have an attitude, and I see beyond what is in front of me. I can understand, like you said, Tiffany, in the spirit, I can see it. I'm an empath. And what I needed to do was create a space for us to have this conversation in a way that was safe for us and safe for the people who will come back and watch this conversation. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you for joining me on this journey. The soul of a Black woman. I mean, who would have thunk it? As my grandma used to say, who would have thunk it? That the richness that came together and weaved us all together tonight was truly, truly amazing. And I love you all. Thank you for doing this for me and with me. And I want to say, as we end, to those of you who are watching, I would really appreciate if you would share your thoughts with us. Come back into these comments and let us know what resonated with you. And for me as a writing coach, I'm always going to say, go get your journal and write down any significant moments that you had. It's important for you to inscribe your legacy. And I do this Resilience Project as another way to inscribe my legacy and inscribe the legacy of the women and men who are brave and courageous to have these sacred conversations with me. We will see you next week. 7 o'clock, same time, same place. We'll have different guests, a different question. If you want to watch more Resilience Project chats, they are available on YouTube or here on my page. You just search my name, Penda James, on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, and there are some awesome nuggets there. So I want you to just find some time to dig in and get grounded. And we love you, we thank you, and we will see you soon. Bye.